Welcome to the Marxist Workers Party's podcast, Izwi Labasebenzi, bringing reports and analysis of the news from a working class and Marxist perspective, fighting for jobs for all, a 12,500 Rand per month minimum wage and high-quality service delivery, organising to arm the workers and trade union movement with a revolutionary socialist and Marxist programme, building the struggle against capitalism and for working class political power and socialism.
The date is the 1st of December 2021. We are publishing this bulletin days before the convening of an extended steering committee of the Saftu-led Working Class Summit. This meeting will take place just over a month after the most politically significant elections since 1994. Topping the agenda will be plans for the reconvening of the full summit early in the new year. The timing could not be better. The message from the local government elections was loud and clear. The working class demands a political alternative. The Extended Steering Committee has an historic opportunity to heed this demand. The MWP has campaigned tirelessly for the reconvening of the Working Class Summit over the past 3 years. The inaugural 2018 summit adopted a declaration in favour of creating a mass workers' party. A discussion paper has been written as mandated by the steering committee. The paper makes proposals on how to implement this decision. We fully support its call for the reconvened summit to set the launch date for the Workers' Party. This can act as a rallying point to unite trade unions, working class communities and youth around a program of mass action that addresses the burning issues of unemployment, low pay and service delivery. Under the banner of a new party, a new political front in the mass struggle can be opened, preparing the way for genuine majority rule under workers' democracy and socialism. The local government elections mark the end of an era. For the first time since 1994, the ANC, the so-called Party of Liberation, crashed below 50%. It was not only the ANC that was hammered. The working class, the poor and the youth saw these elections as an opportunity to show their rejection of the entire capitalist political establishment. Overwhelmingly, this took the form of a stay away or abstention. Turnout sank to its lowest level ever. Across the country, turnout in townships and industrial areas was down. Less than 1 in 3 eligible voters cast their ballots. For Marxists, this was no huge surprise. The working class has suffered enormous hardship during the COVID-19 pandemic. Unemployment has increased to sky-high levels and poverty has deepened. At the same time, the ANC so-called cadres have indulged in a shocking orgy of looting. Billions have been stolen through corrupt PPE and sanitation tenders, digital vibes and other scandals. The orchestrated sabotage and the looting of the July riots demonstrated with fresh brutality the contempt that all ANC factions have for the masses. Then, as if a further reminder of the ANC government's incompetence and corruption was necessary, in the week before the elections, Eskom implemented the worst electricity power cuts in over 2 years. There is a sullen anger towards the political elite and a pervasive sense of futility towards voting for them yet again. But many in the capitalist media and even some on the left are despairing over the so-called voter apathy. However, Marxists have always understood that for the working class, the right to vote is not divorced from the question of jobs, wages and services. The democratic and social questions are intertwined. It is at local level, in the bankrupt municipalities and the crisis of service delivery, that the working class sharply experiences the complete failure of voting to make any substantial difference to their lives. Again and again, when asked why they're not voting, people answer in terms of lack of jobs, lack of housing, and poor service delivery. It is a mistake to describe the unprecedented rejection of the capitalist parties through mass abstention as apathy. Millions of working class people understood that voting for any of the capitalist parties, and especially the ANC, could not transform their living standards. They are right. Alongside anger over disastrous service delivery, another powerful mood was the desire to punish the ANC by withdrawing the vote and refusing to help keep it in office. In the absence of a genuine working class alternative, not voting for the ANC was the best available weapon to remove it from power. It is to the ANC's deep shame that a weapon last used against the apartheid regime's puppet tricameral parliament and black local authorities has now been used against the so-called Party of Liberation itself.
The ANC's electoral decline did not come out of a clear blue sky. It had been warned and punished in the 2016 local elections, losing its majority in 3 of the country's most important metros, Tshwane, Johannesburg, and Nelson Mandela Bay. It was given a last chance in the 2019 national elections, as many ANC voters hoped against hope that Ramaphosa, who had deposed Zuma, would keep his promise to clean out corruption. But its vote still fell below 60% for the first time, and it only clung to Gauteng by its fingernails. Now the ANC does not control a single metro in Gauteng. It was only in Mangaung and Buffalo City that the ANC kept its majority, but with less votes than in 2016. In eThekwini, the ANC managed to secure the majority only after disrupting the previous day's council meeting to give them time for arm twisting and corrupt horse trading. Across KwaZulu-Natal as a whole, the ANC was brutally punished for the July riots. Their vote fell to just 41% of the votes cast. These elections show that the ruling class's political crisis is accelerating under the blows of the pandemic and the economic crisis. In 2016, the DA and the EFF were able, at least partially, to attract some of the voters abandoning the ANC. But post-Marikana, this was more a vote against the ANC than for the DA and EFF. The fact that neither was capable of taking advantage of the ANC's factional crisis shows that they are not considered as an alternative by the working class. The DA lost nearly 3 million votes nationally compared to 2016, including huge losses in its Western Cape base. Even in the metros where they ended up with mayors, their vote crashed. The EFF nudged forward 2 percentage points compared to 2016, but scored a smaller vote share than in the 2019 national elections. Their vote was down significantly in previous strongholds such as Gauteng and Limpopo. Wherever the EFF played a role in the post-2016 Metro coalition, in Johannesburg, Tshwane, and Nelson Mandela Bay, it lost support. A party established to exploit the legitimate grievances of the masses by posturing left has been just as incapable as the unapologetically right-wing neoliberal DA of profiting from the ANC's losses. Combined, the ANC and the DA and the EFF have the active electoral support of only 30 out of every 100 people. The idea of a resurgent Inkatha Freedom Party in KZN is also utter nonsense. The IFP's vote in KZN increased by just 48,000. The ANC in KZN, by contrast, lost 1.6 million votes. Clearly, these did not transfer to the IFP. The IFP's real electoral support in KZN is barely 9%. The remaining votes scattered to the wind and over the 400 parties that contested these elections. Of these, only 2 won more than 1% of the vote, the Freedom Front Plus and newcomers Action SA. The small capitalist parties, including even the EFF, are the tiny bubbles created in the electoral waters as the large stone of the ANC and the small stone of the DA sink. The emergence of the working class as an independent political force will wash them away. However, until that happens, these tiny bubbles can play a role in the maneuvering of the ruling class out of all proportions of the actual levels of support. This has been confirmed in the arrogant demands made by the EFF and Action SA leadership in their coalition negotiations. In eThekwini, the 2 councillors from the new reactionary Zuma-aligned Abantu Batu Congress were able to ensure the elections of the ANC mayor despite the collapse in its vote. The results of these elections have massively worsened the ruling class's headache. The post-2016 coalitions, especially in the metros, were unstable. A fresh period of local government instability now lies ahead in the 66 hung municipalities, where the main parties have been able to negotiate coalitions. It has entailed the most disgusting and opportunistic horse trading. This included the ANC voting for a convicted child rapist as a mayor in Kanaland, and for a convicted fraudster as a speaker. Clearly, however hostile political relations may have been between the parties during the elections campaign, the EFF, the DA, and the ANC and their smaller competitors have no fundamental differences. This will further deepen the working class's disgust at the entire political establishment. However, it is what these elections signal for the 2024 national elections that will be transforming the ruling class's headache into a migraine. Reversing the decline of the ANC seems ruled out, but the outcome of these elections has also made the ruling class's reserve option of an ANC-DA coalition government more problematic. The collapse in turnout and bleeding of votes by both the ANC and the DA makes it highly unlikely already that they could command the active support of the majority of the population. A future national coalition government composed of unpopular parties resting on dwindling social bases will be no guarantee of political stability. Such a government would be one of crisis.
Ultimately, all of the ruling class's scenario planning, working out which combination of capitalist parties can govern on its behalf, will be made irrelevant by the emergence of the working class as an organized and independent political force. The complete absence of a credible working class alternative was decisive in their anger being expressed through a stay-away. Nevertheless, these elections confirmed that where the working class can see a clear way forward electorally, they will seize it. These elections were in fact historic for the widespread search for an electoral alternative. Even more significantly, of the 400 parties that contested, 120 were various local community movements, forums, and ratepayers associations. A number of them achieved significant votes and won seats. In some municipalities, they emerged as the second largest party. These parties are also of a mixed character. They generally lack any political program beyond anti-corruption and pro-service delivery. The idea that clean government would be adequate to transform the lives of their communities appears dominant. Given their social character, local horizons, and isolation, these limitations are virtually inevitable. The explosion in independent parties and candidates is one of the most significant features of the 2021 local government elections. It reflects the yearning of the masses for an alternative, even if only a minority are actively seeking it at this stage.
The organized working class has the social weight to give the search for a political alternative programmatic and organizational cohesion. The responsibility for helping to bring a mass workers' party into existence remains with the Saftu Trade Union Federation and the forces assembled around the Working Class Summit. What these elections tell us about the mood within the working class should fill Saftu members and Working Class Summit participants with enormous optimism. We have seen a widespread rejection of all the major capitalist parties and a historic number of independent candidates and community-based challenges. This is a clear answer to those who claim that the working class is not ready for its own political party. The stagnation of the EFF vote and its loss of support also answers those who see the EFF as an obstacle to building a workers' party. The Working Class Summit is now scheduled to go ahead on March 2022. The activists and community organizations that contested these elections must be brought into this process. The activists and shop stewards of Saftu's affiliates are best placed to identify on the ground which individuals and organizations are genuine. The struggles that push them to contest must find a home in a new workers' party. A workers' party must unite struggles and lead campaigns that can make a real difference in the day-to-day lives of communities. The ruling class and the capitalist parties will be despairing at the outcome of these elections. They are filled with fear and uncertainty for the survival of the post-1994 capitalist democracy. The working class political vacuum is now extreme. The emergence of reactionary parties like the Xenophobic Action SA and the Patriotic Alliance and the Cape Color Congress seeking to inflame racial tensions are a warning to the working class. Saftu and the Working Class Summit must finally seize the moment and push ahead with the creation of a mass workers' party that sets as its goal the struggle for a socialist South Africa and a socialist Africa and a socialist world.
If you have any questions or comments about the contents of this bulletin, please let us know, and we may try and respond in future bulletins. Also, if you know about or are involved in any struggles you would like us to report on, whether that is in your workplace, your community, your university, college or school, or have any suggestions of future topics that you would like us to cover, please contact us. The Marxist Workers Party is an affiliate of the Committee for a Workers' International, the CWI, building global working class unity in the struggle for a socialist South Africa, a socialist Africa, and a socialist world. If you would like to join the Marxist Workers Party or find out more about us, including building the CWI in Southern Africa, please visit our website at www.marxistworkersparty.org.za, find us on Facebook and Twitter, or call or WhatsApp us on 081 366 7375.